She was nobody. She had nothing to do with that. You know what I'm saying? She can't help the way she was born. She was born as a white person. She's a decent, respectful human being, a lovely young lady who goes out there and performs at the highest level.
Stephen A. Smith just broke the ice, following the racist attack on Caitlin Clark. And that sends a shockwave through the sports world. Caitlin Clark, the Golden Knight of the NBA. A racist savagely abused a child. The vocal commenter has been trolled by, "Show off your skills, but this isn't just regarding protecting a player. This is about exposing a far greater issues that are developing in the field of women's sports, which is something that must be treated as though you were yesterday." Clark, who's been making revisions to the records and lighting up the league's courts, has become an ugly person's latest target. Yes, the aspect of fandom I'm referring to. Racist threats and hateful statements that the player should never have to deal with. Particularly not one who has assisted elevate, reaching new heights in the WNBA.
What does she do? She goes out in the WNBA and she balls out there as well. And she ends up being a league MVP candidate as a rookie.
And who better to expose the inconsistency and systemic dysfunction as opposed to Stephen A. He's not holding back, Smith, exposing not only the trolls but also the significant problems in the league that maintain this poisonous atmosphere.
Caitlin Clark, all right? The Indiana Fever star was named Time Magazine's Athlete of the Year earlier this week.
Even the tweet's headers are caustic. Meet Caitlin Clark, the shining star of the NBA. Like no other, the star is at the center of a maelstrom. There is pressure from other playoffs, but after a playoff injury, a racist, threatening email that goes above and beyond. Sports fans appear to have gone insane in 2024, changed from ardent backers to complete and utter internet trolls. Regretfully, Clark is among the most talented athletes from her generation have become their most recent, the best methods to stay stylish online.
Well, I think it was incredibly important to a lot of the sisters that have played in the WNBA. I also think it embarrasses black players, former, present, or whomever, who may, dare I say, have spoken against Caitlin Clark.
However, the twist is that it was a component of a unsettling trend, an increase in hate, intended to stop WNBA players from urinating during the playoffs when feelings are running high, and instead, common sense is ignored, of honoring sportsmen who are breaking records and changing the definition. Some fans of women's basketball are hurling threats and hateful epithets as if it were their own sport. Caitlin wasn't having. She referred to all of it as trolls. Precisely what they're not: trolls. Fans who are misinformed and lack passion, but troublesome supporters are only trolls. According to her, no one in our league should be. It hurts to deal with bigotry of any kind. Insulting, nasty remarks, and dangers that seem so straightforward. A widely accepted assertion would be uncontested. However, in the current online, even basic civility is up for culture. Discuss Caitlin's assertion wasn't just regarding advocating for herself. It was a larger message for the WNBA as a whole. Why community do these athletes, who must already battle tooth and nail for acknowledgement and sponsorships of airtime, are compelled to contend with this degree of toxicological effects, are the result of the male-dominated realm of sports is permeating the following, or is it something more repulsive, something we'd rather avoid?
She took time to acknowledge that race played a role in her success this year. Here's a passage from the article in Times Magazine. Quote, "I want to say I've earned every single thing, but as a white person, there is privilege."
Come on in, Stephen A. Smith. Never one to back down, equipped with a microphone and a more discerning viewpoint than this guy made a three-pointer when it mattered most. Doesn't avoid problems. Instead, he shuts the door, and begins speaking. And lad, did he say that being white makes you? You're right, you're bright. He explained what he perceives as a racial prejudice that motivates Caitlin Clark's. Let's be honest, Smith's popularity even acknowledged her amazing performance on the court, but he had no intention of allowing the The discussion ended there, and he pointing directly towards the fans and the system, the media, and, to be honest, society, and stated, "This goes beyond simply basketball," followed by Smith's. Clark's question is the million-dollar one. Silence is complicit. Let's examine how vocal Clark has been regarding the mistreatment she has endured, denounced it in public and without unclear terminology, but detractors contend that, although she is quick to criticize racism, when she's the target, she hasn't mentioned enough of the racial assaults directed against her classmates. Is that reasonable criticism, or is it overly demanding from a sportsperson who is currently carrying a league's burden on her shoulders?
What I actually say. The subject matter was Caitlin Clark. And you got people out there like Andrea Carter and Janae and others talking about merit. And Monica McNutt to a level.
Naturally, Smith's comments didn't sit well with everyone. Is shocked, right? A man renowned for a loud saying the comm section raised some eyebrows, but did he back down? Not a chance. He intensified his social internet, demonstrating that the intention was not to minimize Clark's accomplishments, but to reveal a more problem. And really, isn't it the main idea of sports analysis to help us uncomfortable, to question the status quo, and to compel discussions we'd avoid this at all costs? It's not just about, sure, Caitlin Clark is the flashy one, but the true tale is greater than her. It's regarding a league aiming for equality, fan base that periodically displays its sportsmen trapped in the ugliest aspect of crossfire. Not to mention the irony. The WNBA has battled valiantly in this situation. To reach this stage, they had fought for respect for a person's visibility, take a seat at the table, and now the same old issues are being dealt with here. Trash that has afflicted sports for years of misogyny, racism, and fandom. It occasionally seems more like more of a battlefield than a neighborhood.
Because when she came into the WNBA, for 22 plus years, they had been flying commercial. They were begging for chartered flights. She arrives there, and 2 weeks later.
Let's discuss Caitlin. Sincerely, Clark, you are unable to communicate regarding the WNBA at the moment without bringing up her name. The Indiana Fever replaced the Iowa Hawkeyes. The league has gone crazy for sensation. She is stealing and breaking records, making news, and obtaining endorsements, as though it were her full-time job. But the heat surrounding her rises as the star does. Is she unquestionably a basketball prodigy? However, has she turned into a racial lightning rod throughout the procedure? Yeah, Clark's. She has undoubtedly had a spectacular rise, displaying incredible numbers on the court, scoring 27.7 points a game on average in her. She's carrying herself in her freshman season with assurance that commands focus.
Black women, that's going to be a beautiful thing, end quote. You see why I had no problem with her being Times Athlete of the Year?
She is adored by her fans, and her deep threes are a strong reason for that. A fierce personality and court vision make for some very good TV, but let's not overlook the fact that the space where her fame is accompanied with a ethnic undertone that is incompatible with dismissed. The circumstance presents a difficult question. How much responsibility does Clark take responsibility for her followers' actions on? She's not individually making one hand, sending these mails, or leaving these comments. However, in contrast, when you are the league's face, do you have an duty to deal with the harmful components? Thomas appears to believe that your fan base, and she's not by herself.
Yeah, it's definitely upsetting. I don't think nobody in our league should be facing any sort of racism, hurtful, disrespectful, hateful comments and threats.
However, let's face it, this isn't only concerning Thomas or Clark. This is about a persistent problem that affects the entire league. Racism in sports has existed for years, and remember, Liz, the WNBA is no exception. The former All-Star Cambridge made a statement regarding the bigotry she encountered from supporters, the league itself, or how regarding Natasha Cloud, who has been among the players that speak up the most about, to uphold social justice, and she has encountered her fair amount of criticism for it. This are not one-off events. Rather, they are a component of a trend and the WNBA's actions. Honestly, I'm not entirely sure about all of this. The league has issued statements denouncing racism and encouraging inclusiveness, yet words can only express so much. Where is the action taking place? Initiatives to inform fans or the systems. In order to hold them responsible, the league takes great pride in being progressive, but regarding safeguarding its athletes from this type of mistreatment, they seem to be playing all the time, catching up.
She's had a profound impact on the game. She's elevated the profile of women's basketball because she's a superstar talent. She deserves to get her jersey retired.
Since the conclusion of the Today, Caitlin Clark isn't the only focus. Or Alyssa Thomas. It concerns altering the sports culture for good is about posing challenging queries. Do we, as supporters, fail these athletes by not being responsible for our actions? Is the leagues are taking enough precautions to their celebrities, or do they participate in? They're quiet, therefore let's quit acting like such. It's more than simply a sporting problem. Afterward, it's about respecting humanity and honor. And if we are unable to obtain that, what exactly are we doing here then?